Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Buck Stops Here. I am Catherine Murray. Well, I wanted to take this opportunity to provide you with a market update and to do so from a technical perspective, technical analysis that is, versus fundamental analysis. And for that, I'm bringing a guest who's very, very well followed for many, many years. We've been talking on my previous program, and we're bringing him back to you today. He is JC Parets, the founder of allstarcharts.com. JC, welcome, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with us about the markets and where you think they're going from a technical perspective. And tell us why you think technical is so important versus fundamental. I am fundamental, you know that.
I don't hold that against you, Catherine. You know that. We've been doing this for a long time and it's always fun. Appreciate the invite. Happy to do it. This is what we do. We're looking at markets all day. We talk about it. I actually find it very therapeutic to, talk about what the market is doing. And, my wife doesn't care. And, my kids certainly don't care. None of my buddies care at all about the stock market. So I don't have anybody to talk to. So, all of us that work at
Okay.
All Star Charts, friends like yourselves, it's a great outlet.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Oh,
So
that's
why
a
is
good way
technical
to say it.
analysis?
I love talking. Go ahead.
No, I appreciate it. That's really how I look at it. So when it comes to technical analysis specifically, and why I think it's so important, I think it gets lost in terms of what technical analysis even is. What are we doing as technicians? We are analyzing what the market is actually doing. So it's not, we're not thinking about what the market should do or what the market could do or what it might do or what it did all those other times that this one thing happened. Like, it's not about that. What is the market actually doing? That's the
Right.
best information. That's the best fundamental analyst you need is the price of the stock, Catherine, right?
Okay. But yes, but I also, and I do believe in technical analysis, and I have for many, many years, far before many portfolio managers. If you remember going back to the early 2000s, a lot of portfolio managers didn't look at technical analysis at all. And then they realized before they were buying or selling a stock that there was so much price momentum and price information within the stock that itself that they had to bring it into their fold. And so I think there's been this explosion almost of PMs and hedge funds recognizing that they have to also incorporate technical analysis with the fundamentals. And fundamentals, for those who are learning, really looking at the company balance sheets, what products do they have, what the outlook is, the demand for their product and the economy. So that's the fundamental side, but the price action is so key and critical. So let's get going though in terms of the markets, we're going to start top down. Then we're going to look at some different areas and sectors within the market that look to be opportunistic right now. But from a big picture perspective, we've seen good performance in the United States, less so in Canada. But let's start with the Dow. How is that performing? What does it look like right now?
Well, let's remember that what's in a lot of the United States indexes is simply not in the Canadian indexes, right? So, or in some of these European indexes or emerging markets in a lot of instances, U.S. markets are very tech heavy. The S&P 500 is 30 something percent technology. And that technology index doesn't even include Amazon or Tesla or Meta or Google. None of those are even in the tech index in the S&P 500. Those are in other sectors. So when you include it all, it's more than half of the S&P 500 is just those names, like that particular group. That's in the S&P. And the NASDAQ, it's even worse. The NASDAQ is well over half, just those names alone. And then the Dow, you're getting much more diversification. Which is ironic because you'd think, well, it's only 30 stocks, JC. How are you getting more diversification? Look at the sector weightings. You're getting a lot more diversification. And even still, you're only getting 2% energy. In the S&P 500, you're getting 3-4% energy. In the NASDAQ, you're getting 0% energy. So that's one of those areas that there's just no exposure to at all, that other countries have a lot more exposure. In the United States, a lot more technology. I think understanding what's in these indexes can be very helpful in understanding the direction that it can go in. Which sectors matter, which don't. Materials just don't matter to the US stock market. But if you're in Peru, that's the only thing that matters,
Right. Absolutely, and it is really important to understand the composition of the indices to understand why the S&P or the U.S. markets have outperformed the TSX, which is obviously more weighted to materials, although it is also weighted towards energy, and energy has been a star performer for the past number of years, especially
Yeah.
because it's been so villainized, victimized around the world, really. So, I've had huge exposure there. But just quick before we go to break, when you look at the Dow and the composition, what does it look like right now? Is it a buy or a sell?
The bull market, Catherine, and listen, I got to tell you, I've gone back and I've studied every bull market in history. And in all of those, what
Okay.
tends to happen is the Dow Jones Industrial Average goes up in all of them. Fascinating.